Hey, this is going to be a longer video, but it's for those athletes going through injuries. And this is just some therapeutic knowledge for you to rack your brain through. Maybe it'll be helpful for you, but um, hopefully it will answer some questions. So I got a question from a viewer, and they asked, Harrison, I got a question for a future video. This question goes when dealing with an injury, knowing you have some sort of setback, how do you keep focused on your goals in jiu-jitsu when you know so many people around you are perfectly healthy, getting better way faster than you are at a lower level and belt and in any way? Um, they continue to say there's an idea that you need some level of ego or overconfidence to achieve a high level of success. But when you're hurt and those around you are significantly getting better, how do you remind yourself just how good you actually are, not hurt, and how do you get over that mental barrier? So I think this is a really great question for a lot of athletes because injuries happen so often. Even minor injuries set us back for a week, or even just a training session feels really bad to not be on the mats or out there running because you have some aches and pains that you have to recover from. More difficult injuries that actually stop you from training really take a toll on your mental health because being an athlete, participating in the sport is a huge part of your life. So when I like to approach some of these questions, I like to educate people on the systems in play and how they work together before I get to the full breadth of answering that question. So something that this question prompted me again about is uh, it's something, especially, I'm not sure if it's common in other areas, but especially in North America, is that our schooling system works in a deficit model. And what this means is that we are scored from 0 to 100, and we go through and are graded uh, on how well we can achieve and answer all these questions to a T. And if you get 100 marks, then you are stated as 100% capable. If you're 80% there, you get an A minus on your test, then it means that you are lacking some knowledge that doesn't make you fully 100% capable, but you're almost there. And it goes so on and so forth, especially when you fail a test. It tells you that you're not capable. So we're trying to compensate and diminish this gap between 0 to 100, or if you're at 80, then you want to get that extra 20% so that you can feel 100% capable. And you are tested every single time you go to school, and you are trying to bridge that gap so that there isn't a deficit, and you are trying to achieve and tell people that, hey, I'm a capable person. I can do these things at this level. However, when you're always trying to bridge that gap, it teaches us that we aren't capable sometimes. When sometimes you're that student, especially me when I was going through school, I didn't get the best marks. I was a straight C minus student for a long time. And I was always trying to get back and bridge that deficit. Always trying to get an A or a B even, talking about how bad my grades were at school, but always trying to bridge that gap because I always felt some form of me, or especially the test was telling me that, hey, you're inadequate 70% of the time, you're inadequate 60% of the time. And this is where you get in your head about a lot of things. This is where you're always trying to bridge that gap. This is how the school system affects a lot of youth, especially going through the system. It teaches us that we are not capable. And so when we move towards something called a strength based model, and especially in therapy, we teach people that, hey, you are very much capable, especially when we take real world examples of when I, for myself, got into the workforce and started doing a lot of things, is that no one really graded how well I did things. They just wanted to make sure that I could get the job done and that I was able to accomplish tasks and that I was able to do certain things. And when I did those things, I was rewarded with compensation. I got money for doing my job. And this is something that the school system doesn't teach you because it doesn't reward you for doing things. They reward you for bridging that gap to be that A+ student that gets 100 marks. And sometimes people learn that, hey, getting 100 doesn't really mean a lot when you go out into the real world settings where there's so many different things. So when you apply that to sports and you apply that to getting an injury, is that you feel set back because you feel you're at 80% of your capacity. You feel that you're at 70% of your capacity, or even 50 or 40 or 30 at times, depending on the injury. And it puts you behind everyone else. It puts you in a position where you don't feel capable because you only view yourself from your best version versus the person that you feel that you are now. This is where you feel graded, that you feel that you aren't able to put in 100%. And this is where the school system and the deficit model really motivates you to bridge that gap. This is why it works, but also why it causes a lot of what I call maladaptive behaviors and thoughts that can be incongruent of what you actually are capable of doing. So, when answering your question of trying to balance your ego, and because your ego's tested when you're at 30% of your capacity and you want to be back in your mats. And if you're struggling and you're feeling left behind, these are normal feelings that you're dealing with. I tell people that you are always 100% capable. The person you are today is not the person you were 10 days ago, or 60 days ago, or a year ago, or 10 years ago for that matter. Is that what matters today is what you are able to do and what you're willing to put into perspective to change yourself for the better. And part of that journey is very, very tough and a lot of struggle. It's not going to be fun because there will be days where you don't feel like you are capable of doing things. But remind yourself that you are 100% capable every single day. The person that you are just keeps changing. So, a good reminder is to just take a step back from things. Don't be so hard on yourself. Think about what you're good at doing and how you can do things well with a lot of purpose. So, I won't get too deep into it, and everyone's story is a little bit different, and everyone's experiences will be uh, always changing too, and new experiences will draw new perspective. So, just go out there, enjoy the training that you can have, and it's always a privilege to just train, right? And enjoy the company of getting in those roles. So have fun. Take it easy.